The man from the memory that never mapped. What if I told you there was once a land nestled between the mountains, a place with borders shaped by memory, not by politics, a nation that disappeared, not in war, not in silence, but in time. It was called Taured, not on your maps, not in your textbooks. But it lived in the minds of those who remembered the world before it was rewritten, long before the world knew dates like before Christ, and long after the fourth caliph's era faded into shadows. There existed geographical memory corridors, places where history didn't just happen, it looped. One of those was in the Pyrenees Mountains, a narrow sliver of land still called Andorra today. But Andorra was more than just a name. It was a seal, a marker, a spiritual hinge between timelines, a land neither fully Roman nor fully Islamic, yet whispered in both traditions. In the mid-20th century, a man arrived at a European airport, impeccably dressed, unnervingly calm, almost too polite. But his documents, his passport, his visa, and even the currency in his wallet belonged to a country no one could find. Taured? Yes, Taured. The officials thought it was a prank until they saw the stamps. Valid entries and exits from places that technically never existed, he pointed on the map. Said his country lay between France and Spain, right where Andorra sits today. But the map disagreed. The world had moved on. He hadn't. They locked him in a room. He vanished by morning. Some called it a dimensional glitch. Others called it a hoax. But what if it wasn't a disappearance? What if time simply refused to hold him any longer? What if he was a remnant, a ripple from a timeline where Taured was real, and the rewrite hadn't reached him yet? Ancient texts once described Andorra not as a kingdom, but as a threshold. Before modern lines were drawn, this region was a meeting place for tribes, monks, mystics, and later reformers. Some said that before Christ walked, this land held an ancient shrine, with markings now erased by centuries of reshaping. And after the time of the fourth caliph, something changed again. Records grew silent, maps were updated, but the memory remained, buried, muted, waiting. If you've made it this far, ask yourself, why does this feel familiar? Why do names like Taured and Andorra spark something in you? Because memory is not always personal. Some of it is inherited, passed through symbols, dreams, bloodlines, and maybe, just maybe, the traveler wasn't lost. He was a signal that time is not linear, that history is not finished, that you are not crazy to remember what the world forgot. Andorra remains, Taured was real. Somewhere, you were never meant to find them on a map. You were meant to find them within yourself. The greatest deception is not when you see a lie, but when you live in it and call it normal. What do you think this really means? Ask ChatGPT or any AI if you dare. Subscribe to Brand Master, because more anomalies are coming.